This is Late Night Health. This is the radio show that cares about the most important part of your life, your health. During the next hour, the insane Daryl Wayne and I are going to talk about a couple of things that I think touch each and every one of us. During the second part of our show, we're going to take a look at time change and daylight savings time with Dr. Fred Cohen. We're going to find out how these time changes affect us, good, bad, indifferently. We'll find out more about that with Dr. Fred in about a half hour from now. Right now, we go to Minneapolis, and we're going to talk with Chris Oakes. He is the Chief Development Officer for Curico Health, and we welcome Chris to Late Night Health.
Hi, Mark. It's wonderful to be here with you and Daryl. Thank you.
You're welcome. So let's talk about, first of all, let's talk about Curico. What does Curico do?
Yeah, Curico is a non-emergency medical transportation provider. So we help patients get to and from their primary care appointments.
That's very simple. So if I need if I can't drive because I'm having some kind of procedure,
yeah,
you'll help me out instead of my wife.
That's right. Non-emergency medical transportation, as I just mentioned, is the tip of the iceberg. But the iceberg is big, and Curico is playing an increasing role in helping to innovate NEMT as we know it. If it's all right with you, I can give you a few maybe instances of how we are different than some standard NEMT companies.
Sure. And let me ask, do you just cover the Midwest? You're based in Minneapolis, or are you nationwide?
So I am based in Minneapolis. The company operates out of Texas and Arkansas. It's a Texas-based and Texas-founded company.
Got it. So give us one or two examples, and then I want to talk about this staggering financial impact of patient no-shows.
Sure, absolutely. Okay, so standard non-emergency medical transportation, as we've come to know it, usually is an individual like yourself, Mark, who will go out and buy some vans and hire some drivers and have a local radius of where they can help patients get to and from their appointments. Uber and Lyft really broke the mold in what transportation providing can become. And what we're doing is we're taking that sort of transportation network style company and we're applying it to non-emergency medical transportation. And so we are not a rideshare, but we take the best bits of rideshare technology and we help patients get to and from their appointments. That's how we're able to grow and scale. So rather than Mark having a handful of vans and a handful of drivers, we have a fleet of independent contractors who will use their own sedans to bring patients to and from their appointments.
Much like Uber or Lyft.
Much like Uber and Lyft, but here is where Uber and Lyft their breadth of scope is very, very wide. Ours is very, very narrow, but we go, a bit deeper. And so where like an Uber and Lyft, their health care providing capabilities end, that's where Curico starts and runs with it. So I'll give you an example. All of our drivers are CPR certified. Our training is in patient empathy. Okay, we service a lot of senior citizens. These senior citizens, in some cases, might not get out of their apartment or their house very often, and maybe their first interaction with a human being might be a Curico driver. And so we train our drivers to be very understanding about what that patient might be going through.
I think that's really terrific. Daryl, you had a thought?
Well, I think he answered my question. He kept saying non-emergency, and sometimes a non-emergency voyage may turn into an emergency voyage somewhere in the process, and you say that your drivers are trained.
Yeah, drivers are trained, and we know that as a society, if you remember Venn diagrams from when you're in high school, right, the three circles, we know that Americans are driving less in general, Americans are getting older in general, and Americans are getting sicker in general. And so where those three circles kind of combine, that's where the need for non-emergency medical transportation is. And when we look at specifically seniors, remember that 1 in 4 senior citizens now no longer drives. And 1 in 2 senior citizens has a tough time getting from point A to point B on any given day. And so certain technologies have come out. Telehealth, that's sexy, right? Telehealth is
Yeah.
great and it's convenient. But 30% of all telehealth appointments lead to a physical appointment. They need to get across town. And so there's a gap between, what the patient needs is in the doctor's office, where the patient is, and as a healthcare industry, we need to really cover that gap. I always say,
Right.
there's nothing sexy about transportation. The sexy stuff is technology and new pharma and, what did Amazon just buy? That's the sexy, cool stuff. But if you can't get someone from their home to their doctor appointment, it's all kind of lost. And the
Right.
reason, yeah, sorry,
And
Mark, I could go on for days.
got it. And back again. And I can see a use for that if you have some kind of procedure that you're not supposed to drive, okay? And a colonoscopy comes to mind. And you go in, they knock you out, and you're not supposed to drive for 6 hours or whatever it is. And instead of having your wife or a friend take you, you can call Kiriko. What you're based in Texas and in Arkansas. Plans to expand to California so that we can use you?
Oh, yeah, we do have expansion plans. We're not ready to announce them yet. We plan on being in one or two more states by the end of this year, and then maybe one or two more by mid next year. One of the things that I really should probably touch on this, in the instance of a colonoscopy, right? You're knocked out, you're waking up, you're a little dizzy. You don't want to walk out to the curb. You don't want to stand by the door. Another thing that we do very differently, we're very proud of it, is we are a door-through-door service. So we can come and get you from your hospital bed, bring you out into the van or the sedan, get you home, get you through your threshold, your front door, your building, get you settled, put a blanket on you, and then leave.
And
Yeah.
on the way home from, say, a colonoscopy, because you're going to be hungry, will you stop off at a fast food place and get us
Absolutely.
food?
There are certain
Yeah.
things that we are allowed to do, and we do them. It's not uncommon for someone to be hungry. It's very common to need to stop by a Walgreens and pick up a prescription, and we're happy to do that.
Wow.
It's all, we look at the patient journey so often in healthcare. People think it starts when they walk through the reception of the doctor's office and when they leave. The way we see it is the patient journey begins when we knock on their door, and when it ends when we bring them home.
Bravo for you guys,
Yeah.
really. Because
Sorry, Daryl, go ahead.
I was going to say bravo for you guys, because a lot of times I've been in situations where they just wheel you out to the curb and go, okay.
Yeah.
It's true. And, here's another statistic for you. I mentioned we were jibber jabbering at the beginning. I'm full of, I joked about useless information. Here's something very useful.
But this is useful and it's very good.
Yeah.
We'll be taking a break in a few moments, and when we come back from that, we're going to talk about no-shows in the healthcare industry. It's a staggering figure, but I think that it could be beneficial to those who do keep their appointments. And we'll talk about that in just a couple of moments. Our guest is Christopher Oakes. He goes by Chris from Kiriko Health Care. And he has got 20 years of Fortune 100 leadership, a senior strategy and development executive for healthcare, energy, and technology. And he is based in the land of 14,000 lakes.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
See, I pick up useless information as well. Join us at latenighthealth.com. That's latenighthealth.com. There's a pretty picture of Daryl and me, and lots of our guests are up there as well. Coming up, we're going to talk, as I said, about the financial impact of patient no-shows. Any idea of how much that is estimated at, Daryl?
No idea. It's got to be a big number.
According to Chris, $150 billion for the U.S. healthcare industry. We'll find out more as Late Night Health continues. Don't go away as we move forward. Late Night Health is proud of our partnership with the EBC, the Evolutionary Business Council. Check them out at ebcouncil.com.
You're listening to Late Night Health with Mark Allen. The show continues in a moment.
Recently, I met Jacqueline from Bright here in Los Angeles. She gave me a hearing exam and then showed me how to hear again with the new Signia Pure Series hearing aids, and she can give you your life back too. I hear birds chirping, birds cooing, and even my wife. They easily connect to my smartphone. The Signia hearing aids are amazing, and with the charge and go, I don't have to fiddle with batteries and hear all day long. Not hearing is frustrating for you and your family. I know you don't have a problem, but trust me, call Bright Here now for a free hearing exam, a $125 value, yours free, just for making an appointment now. There are offices throughout the Los Angeles area. Call Bright Here now at 323-424-7100. That's 323-424-7100 for a free hearing exam. There's no obligation. Call now, 323-424-7100, or visit them on the web at brighthere.com.
If you're listening to Late Night Health right now, you're part of the growing target of baby boomers we're serving. Hi, I'm Daryl Wayne, producer of Late Night Health, inviting you to join the Late Night Health family. If you have any business targeting the growing boomer market, Late Night Health is the ideal advertising vehicle for you. From vitamins to insurance, alternative health to Western-style medicine, Late Night Health caters to the growing population of those over 40 years old. This vibrant demographic has expendable income to fight aging, purchase travel, take care of aging parents, or just have fun. Find out about the advertising opportunities with Late Night Health. Call us at 805-391-0308. That's 805-391-0308, or email us at info@latenighthealth.com. That's info@latenighthealth.com. Join Late Night Health as we empower people to take charge of their own health care. Call now at 805-391-0308. That's 805-391-0308.
Sometimes it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Words are a critical aspect of success. How you get your point across is a crucial part of what makes anything sell. So do it right and hire a writer. Whether it's articles, blog posts, technical writings, website content, product descriptions, or ghostwriting anything from a novel to a nonfiction book about your navel, contact Servet Hassan. If you want it to sell, write it right. Email Servet at servet@servethassan.com.
It's time to tackle a tough topic, one that affects us all. We're talking about sexism in the workplace. The award-winning Identifying the Elephant in the Room series is back and ready to tackle some complicated communications issues again. This spring, we're focusing on critical communication strategies in the face of sexism. Join us as we hear from professionals in the natural products industry who have valuable career lessons to share and real-world experience to discuss from all sides of the elephant. It's time to have an honest and open conversation about the impact of sexism in the workplace and how we can make it better for everyone. Identifying the Elephant in the Room series starts March 16th. Register today at inicibox.vfairs.com. That's INICIBOX.VFAIRS.com, and join the conversation to be part of the solution. Late Night Health continues. I'm Mark Allen, along with the insane Daryl Wayne. We're talking with Chris Oakes. We're talking about the company Kiriko, which provides non-emergency transportation. Who did the study that we're going to talk about now, Chris? It's saying that the healthcare industry loses $150 billion a year.
I think that was NIH, National Institute of Health.
Okay, NIH. Okay. So here's my thing. You walk into a doctor's office, and I had this happen to me. Big sign. If you're more than 15 minutes late, one, you will be charged your copay or a fee. Number two on the sign. If you don't show up, you'll be charged $150 for a no-show. And I find that just really not consumer friendly, not patient friendly. So I went up and I asked to speak to the office manager, and I said, "What happens if the doctor is 15 minutes late?" And she smiled at me and she said, "I don't understand what you mean." I said, this is a non-emergency doctor, okay? It's a dermatologist or an allergist. You don't normally have emergencies. Okay, allergist, somebody can go into anaphylactic shock. Come out and say to the people in the waiting room, hey, we have an emergency. We'll be with you as soon as we can. We all understand that. But any more than 15 minutes means that you've triple booked, right? And I said, I charge you for my time. So if you're more than 15 minutes late, this poor woman blanched. I mean, I thought she was going to pass out and need oxygen.
Yeah.
So there's got to be a way, Chris, that yes, 40% of people don't show up for their appointments. It's terrible. But it would seem to me that that means that patient B, who's waiting for patient A, who doesn't show up, has more time with the doc.
It's so interesting that you say that. I think this is a great time for the origin story of Carico, because it's very relevant to the conversation, Mark. So Mike Morris, our founder and CEO, he's also a son, and he was driving his senior citizen mom to her cancer appointments. Lost time at work, et cetera, hours and days spent going through what you're talking about. I come from it because I have a 72-year-old mother. She lives across town. She's disabled. This Thursday, I'm bringing her to her physical therapy appointment because I don't have, Carico's not up here, and the options for transportation up here are not as good. So I have that problem. Mike had that problem. Mike realized that there was an issue, but it wasn't until he was at a luncheon with some young doctors who leverage technology, who are trying to make the most of every minute. They own a pulmonary clinic in Houston. 50% of their appointments weren't showing up. Pulmonary appointments are heavy duty, can be expensive, and they were losing a lot of revenue. They had a full staff. And so Mike was listening to this going, this issue is bigger than we know. Let me try and solve that for you. And so he started Carico. And what happened was a pulmonary clinic using Carico was able to reduce its no-show appointments by 50% because it would pay Carico to go and get the patient and bring them in. Now, in the example that you gave, I think there needs to be more noise coming from patients' families, more PR from companies like ours to let those clinics know that there are options and everybody benefits. Because if you can reduce a no-show, a couple things happen. One, the doctor's able to make payroll. Two, the patient will live longer. We know statistically that if a patient can get to their primary care appointment, they are less likely to end up in the emergency room. Three, from the healthcare insurance companies, every dollar spent on non-emergency medical transportation saves $11 in emergency room visits. And so if we can bridge that gap between the no-show rate and patients who need to get from point A to point B, it's a win-win for everybody in the ecosystem.
So let me ask you, you're suggesting that the reason that there's 40 and 50% no-shows is because of transportation issues with seniors?
Amongst senior citizens in that demographic, yes. A lack of
But what about no-shows for somebody who's, I don't even know how, a Gen X, Gen Y?
Yeah, no, this is great. This is like there's a huge pie chart that we're always referencing. If you look in the aggregate, patient no-shows across the board, only 7% of the time is transportation related. Most of it is forgetfulness, or people are double booked, or they're just too lazy to call and cancel the appointment. Because a no-show means you don't cancel the appointment, but you don't show up for it either. And that's a burden on the people in clinics.
But a lot of doctors' offices attempt to charge for that no-show.
Well, yeah. I mean, you just gave it an anecdote.
And they should. Somebody doesn't show up, get them.
Yeah, but when you look at the and I don't run I'm not a primary care physician. I don't run a clinic. But what I do know is that patient satisfaction is important. And rather than punish the patient with a $150 fine for not showing up? Would it not make more economic and health sense to help that patient get into their appointment? So when you're saying, Mark, you've got an appointment next week here, Tuesday, 2 o'clock. Do you need a ride? We noticed at the last appointment you missed. I do need a ride. Okay, we'll send the
Would
care.
it be a great idea?
Well, that's what we're working at. That's what we're doing. We're doing it in Texas. We're doing it in Arkansas. And we hope to be able to do it everywhere. And I also encourage competition. I mean, there are so many people in need. And anecdotally, I just gave you the story of my mom. I gave you the story of Mike's mom. There are so many people in America who need to get to the medical appointment.
I can remember taking my mom. When my mom got sick, I took her car. She was very upset with me. I took her keys. I took her car. She had a couple of just little fender benders, but that was it. And she was really annoyed at me. She was upset.
I have my mom's car in my backyard right now.
Got it. I gave her car to one of my kids. It worked out.
It stayed in the family.
Yeah, it stayed in the family. I guess my point is that I understand the need for this, and I think it's really, really important. It makes sense to me, but I don't know. No shows, and I think that the doctor's office, if patient A doesn't show up, they bring patient B in because they're not only on time, they're early, and I think that would work out all for more time with that second patient.
Maybe you're right. I think for us, because we have personal experience with doing non-emergency medical transportation for our moms, we're going to continue to try and solve this issue.
Yes.
We work with primary care providers, insurance companies. We do direct to consumer as well. People can call us and get a ride. We're just trying to make as much noise and encouraging everybody in the healthcare ecosystem to make as much noise about this as possible, because it is such a simple solution, I think, but we just have to figure it out. There need to be more companies like Carico out there to do the work.
Daryl?
Speaking of someone that had a broken foot for a long time and couldn't put any weight on it at all, bravo for you guys and Godspeed.
Thank you, Daryl.
I think it's a great idea. We're running out of time. What's the average cost for a ride one way?
Well, that's a great question. So I think everybody should know this. When it comes to non-emergency medical transportation, there is a load-in fee and then a per mile charge. I think right now for like a 15-mile ride, it's in Texas where we are, we're averaging about $60, $70.
Got it.
Depending on, if it's out-of-pocket expense, that can add up.
Hey, Chris, we're out of time. You can see that the clock is counting me down. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. We'll have information about Caracol up on Late Night Health. Don't go away. More coming up.